All right, hello Washington Eagles. It's math time again. We are going to, today we're going to talk about our sixes. We're going to do 6 times 3, 6 times 4, and 6 times 6. But first let's review what we did yesterday. Remember, the 0 is the king, so the king wants everybody to look like him. So any number times 0 is going to be 0 because the king tells everybody to look like him. So 100 times 0 would be 0. 1,000,000 times 0 would be 0. When you have your one facts, the 1 is a mirror. 26 is looking into the mirror, and so it sees itself back. So 26 times 1 would be 26. 1,000,000 times 1 would be 1,000,000. 1 times 1 would be 1. It's just a mirror. It looks back at itself. So 26 times 1 is 1. Our 3 times 3, remember the 3 blind mice. They each had 3 tails. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 blind mice. The blind sounds like 9. So 3 times 3 is 9. Our 4x4, remember Bart was driving his 4x4 truck, and you have to be 16 to drive. So 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 3. That's our cheer. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like math. Let's do some more. So our answer is 4 times 3 is 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I like math. Let's do some more. Here's our turnaround fact. 3 times 4 is the same. It's 12. 2 times 6. Let's count up. Starting with 2's all the way to 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Great way to count by 2's. To multiply by 2's, just count by 2's up to whatever number you need to reach. So in that case, 6. So again, we'll review our new information is going to be 6 times 3, 6 times 4, and 6 times 6. If you know that 6 times 2 is 12, then you can get to 6 times 3. All you're going to do is add up to get 18. But we're going to go over our story. Our 6 times 3. All right, here we go. 6 loves to go out target shooting on weekends. One spring day when 6 was in the forest practicing with her bow and arrow, she spotted a very strange hairy creature with great big feet. She wondered if he was the legendary Bigfoot. 6 didn't want to hurt the creature, but she wanted to stop him from coming closer. So she shot her arrow straight up into the air. It landed right in front of the hairy creature, stopping him dead in his tracks. So, remember, when it's 6 times 3, 6 shoots her bow, and the arrow lands right in front of Bigfoot, which is the 8. So 6 times 3 is 18. So remember, I want you to visualize these stories, try to remember them, go back to all these videos and review them to help you remember your math facts. So 6 times 3 is 18. Our next story, which is one of my favorites, is 6 times 4 is 24. There once was a snail that lived in a swamp with lily pads. The swamp was pretty ordinary, but next to it was a special magic 4 pond. The snail knew that if he climbed into the magic pond, he would have one wish granted. The snail had become tired of always looking at the ground. He wished he could soar above the trees and mountains like a swan. So he climbed up into a magic pond. The snail closed his eyes very tightly and made his wish. Poof! His wish came true, and he turned into a beautiful swan. So remember, when it's 6, which is the snail, times 4, which is the magic pond, the snail gets his wish and becomes a swan, which is the 2, and thanks to the magic pond, which is 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. That's the snail got its wish. It's now a magic swan thanks to the pond. right, our next story. Those silly double sixes. They went wandering into the desert without any water. All right, let's see what happens to the thirsty sixes. So 6 times 6 is 36. There were 2 twin sixes from Africa. They wanted to visit their cousins who lived across the desert. They hadn't seen each other for many years. They set out on their journey. After hiking for many days, they got low on water. Just then, they started to get very worried. They came upon a pool of clear, cool spring water. The twin sixes were so happy to find the water, they were very thirsty sixes. After getting a drink, they made it to their cousin's house, where they had a glorious party. So remember, when it's 6 times 6, 6 times 6, they are thirsty sixes, as in thirsty sounds like 30 sixes. So they are very thirsty sixes. 6 times 6 is 36. All right, we're going to review our story one more time. My lovely drawing. So 6 times 3, she shoots the bow, and the arrow, which is the one, comes down right in front of the big foot, which is the 8. So 6 times 3 is 18. And then we have the magic pond with the snail that wants to become a swan. So 6 times 4 is 24. And our last story is 6 times 6. We have those thirsty sixes. So the twins, 6 times 6, went out to the desert. They became very thirsty, so they are thirsty sixes. 6 times 6 is 36. Now remember, if you can get